Welcome, dear learners. In any organization, many a times, few employees do not hold adequate attitude and demonstrate undesirable behavior, which may also impact the performance of an individual employee and the spirit of team as a whole. So, in order to resolve the attitude and behavior related problems, another very important skill called as counseling is needed. In this video, we will focus on concept of counseling, the process involved in counseling session, and the techniques of counseling the employees for improving their performance. But first of all, let me make clear the difference between mentoring, coaching, and counseling. Mentoring deals with equipping the employee with requisite knowledge and skills, whereas coaching deals with ability related problems. On the other hand, counseling deals with resolving personal and emotional problems of the employees. So, what is counseling? Counseling is a professional relationship between a professionally trained competent counselor and an individual seeking help in gaining self understanding and improved decision making and behavior changing skills for problem resolution and for development growth. It is the process of giving help to an individual faced by a problem by making him or her understand and accept his or her assets and liabilities, and then arrive at a solution to the problem and then implementing the decision. Process of counseling involves certain steps, namely rapport building, defining the problem, defining the goal, exploring alternatives and confronting incongruity, and generalization. Now, let us learn all these steps in detail. Firstly, rapport building. This stage involves building of rapport with the employee, that is, making him or her feel at ease. Here, the focus is on skill of building of trust and attending the skill. Next step is defining the problem. This stage involves assessment of the problem. This can be carried out by helping the employee to do self exploration and analyze the behavior causing problem. The skills required on the part of counselor include active listening and asking probing questions for understanding underlying emotions of the employee. The process of assessment involves a series of skills of observation, inquiry, recording information, forming hypotheses, hunches, etc. The next step is now to define the goal. Setting goal is important to give structure to the entire counseling process. This involves data analysis by taking stock of the assets and liabilities of the employee. Here, the skill required on the part of counselor is paraphrasing and empathy. Now, the coach is to help the employee explore alternatives and confronting incongruity. Selecting and using counseling strategies to help the employee to make action oriented solution and explore for alternatives and motivation for implementing the decisions. Here, the skill required is decision making. The last stage is generalization. This implies termination and follow up, that is, testing the merits of new solutions, adopting them, and seeing their workability. If satisfactory, then appreciate and dissolve the counseling relationship. Here, the skill required is learning detached attachment. Now, the question is, when an employee is to refer for counseling, when there is a confusion about undertaking projects, when there are questions about requirements to completion of project, when there are concerns about poor performance or disagreements with performance, when there are certain evidences of poor time, stress, and work management skills. Employees are reporting that the tasks are either too easy or too difficult, that is not challenging task. There are certain managerial assistant concerns, concerns about relationship with boss, with peer group, attraction with opposite gender, or there is deviant behavior like drug abuse, revenge, violence, or fear of AIDS, health issues, etc. Now, let us look for what counseling is not. It is not advice giving, nor is it dictating to others. It is not solving another's problem, but helping him or her to solve his or her own problem. It is not carrying another person's burden, but assisting him or her to carry and face his or her problems. It is not making decisions for others. It is helping others to arrive at their own decisions. Now, let us learn various strategies for counseling the employees effectively. Firstly, maintain confidentiality and show trust that the employees can open up and share their reasons for many personal problems. The counselor has to speak less, and he or she can briefly paraphrase and clarify the problems or behavior related problems. Listen patiently and empathetically if you want to be good in communication while giving counseling to the employee. Build positive self-concept, that is, provide reassurance to employees that their problems have solutions and that they have the ability to improve. Reflect employee feelings. Be concrete by asking for examples in vivid details of feelings and thoughts. And the counselor has to ask open-ended questions. In addition, when in doubt, the counselor has to focus on feelings and guide the employee to find his or her own way to finding solution to the problem. So dear learners, in this video, we have learned the concept of counseling, how it is different from coaching and mentoring, the process involved in conducting the counseling session, and the techniques of counseling employees. If counseling process is carried out effectively, it can definitely resolve many of the behavior related problems of the employee, and the employee can perform to their maximum potential. Thank you very much.